Hello and welcome to Retirement Ready TV, Cleveland's very best resource for state-of-the-art retirement planning strategies. I'm Michelle Davidson, and we are so fortunate to have Tim and Laura Schultz available right here in the CLE to help guide us. I mean, you can never find two people who are better equipped and ready to sit down and have a real conversation about your retirement plans than these two. Welcome, Tim and Laura. Thank you so much for being here.
We have a great show today.
We do. It's jam-packed, isn't it?
I am super excited.
I'm excited too.
Good.
And good information.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. We're going to start off with a trip through the Retirement Ready Roadmap, an exclusive process developed by Preservation Retirement Services. Then, Tim is going to explain market downturn recovery at his Retirement Ready light board, which is very cool.
I love that light board.
I know you do. I can tell. I know you love it. And then we're going to turn our focus to healthcare issues for our Women Get Retirement Ready segment, one of my favorites, no offense, Tim. Then we finally will talk about how to keep good and open communications with your financial advisor.
Whew, that is a lot.
It's a lot.
That's going to be a great show.
Let's do it.
Let's get started,
I'm
right?
fired up.
Okay, retirement planning can be overwhelming,
Yes.
to say the least.
I mean, we just talked about 5 different things to
Yes.
think about in retirement, right?
Whew,
I'm
okay.
overwhelmed right now. Let's do it.
Okay, so how about where we start?
Yeah.
How at Preservation Retirement Services do you help people navigate that? I mean, it's a lot.
So really, that first contact that we have with someone that's looking to work with Tim and I is what we call our Retirement Ready Review. Yeah. And it is a conversation, super low pressure. Yeah. It's just us trying to figure out if we're a fit to work together. And most importantly, to figure out what does that particular client's dream retirement look like?
Because everybody's dream retirement is different.
And the plan that we're ultimately going to build can vary greatly depending on what their goal is. Are they planning to try to spend down their retirement savings down so that last check bounces? Some people are like, I want to spend all my retirement money. Other folks are really focused on legacy and leaving behind the biggest legacy possible for their children or grandchildren. A lot of folks fall in the middle.
Somewhere in between.
But we have to find the answer to that. What are your goals in retirement and what do your dreams of retirement look like in that Retirement Ready Review? So that's always step one, that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Step 2 is then we start to build that roadmap. And we'll get to that in a little bit. It's pretty exciting. And that ultimately leads to?
Really building, creating confidence and security that your retirement is on track, right? That's why folks want to have a financial professional to help them, to have that plan and then make sure that the plan is working and that they're on the right track to get to their dream retirement.
That's the end goal, right?
It really is.
Help them and make them feel confident and know that I'm going to be okay.
I'm going to be okay. And you have a step-by-step process.
We do.
Which is fantastic to make it less intimidating, right?
Absolutely.
We try.
And it all comes down to the plan. We hear from folks all the time that they go to meet with somebody and they talk about products, annuities or stocks or mutual funds or exchange-traded funds. That's what the first meeting is all about. Here are things that I can sell you for your financial plan. We really think it's important to do it almost the opposite way. To start with what does your dream retirement look like? And then we have to build the plan. That's that roadmap. And Tim, maybe we should walk folks through what do we mean when we say roadmap and plan?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. So we made it really easy. ROAD. That each stands for a piece of the puzzle that we have to put together that is your retirement plan. We always start with R. And R stands for review risks to your retirement. As a lawyer, that's still the way my mind works. I think a lot about risk and how we mitigate risks for our clients because we don't want something to come in from the outside and derail their retirement. Market volatility, rising taxes, long-term care, healthcare. That's R.
Yep. And the O stands for optimize. And we're talking about optimizing taxes and legacy. And those are two really scary words that people come into our office. They're always worried about. Optimizing taxes, that's just talking about using tax efficient strategies to maybe start moving or shifting some of that qualified money, the IRA money, maybe to some tax-free strategies, Roth IRA and other types of products. And then legacy, everybody's worried about, with taxes rising and going up in the future, how can we be efficient with our taxes when we pass that legacy plan, that estate plan, when we move money to our children?
Then we're at A, which stands for allocate assets. And really, we just mean building a diversified portfolio that meets both the client's income needs in retirement and also is consistent with their own risk tolerance.
And then last but not least, that D is distribute, and that means distributing income. And Preservation Retirement Services, Laura, we don't like to say the word retirement. We like to say
Voluntary unemployment.
Voluntary unemployment. That really has to do when people retire, that paycheck stops, right? And a lot of times there's that gap there. And so we need to figure out ways to cover that gap and have other income streams. That comes from individuals' portfolios. So we need to figure out what product we need to pull money from in a tax efficient way to cover that gap.
That's the roadmap. That's it.
Thank you so much for this step-by-step process. What should folks do if they want to continue this conversation with you?
Great question. Like we always say, it's just that one simple phone number. Call 440-345-6900.
You can call, you can text READY to that number, 440-345-6900. If you send that text, you'll get a form to fill out, and you can get your very own Retirement Ready Toolkit. Or if you want to have that conversation, that Retirement Ready review we were talking about, where we can talk about what your dream retirement looks like, we would love to have that conversation. Just call, text 440-345-6900.
Do it today.
We all want that dream retirement. All right. When we come back after the break, you won't want to miss Tim tackle market volatility on the Retirement Ready Light Board. I know you are excited.
I love that light board. I'm ready to go.
We'll be right back.
We went to Maine this summer. We go to Florida a couple times a year. We took the grandkids up to Michigan fishing, just living the dream right now.
Yeah, that's the one thing we really wanted to do was travel and adventure in our retirement. And we weren't even sure before, what we'd be able to do. But after partnering with Tim and Laura, it's like, okay, we're good. Tim and Laura were able to show it to us, visually show us, where it would go and how it would grow and how to diversify. And that, we'd be able to actually have fun and leave a legacy for the kids. When we come in, it's like visiting friends, and it's a partnership. They educated us so much. I thought we were fairly, knowledgeable about it, but when it comes down to it, there was a lot of missing pieces that were more about preserving what we have. Everything that they do is, pinpointed to us. This is our family.
Take control of your future. Preservation Retirement Services. Get retirement ready. Call today.
Women have a lot to be proud of. We get a lot done, but too many times we take care of ourselves last. If you're married, there's a good chance you'll outlive your spouse and all the financial decisions will fall to you. If you're single, it will be up to you to fund your entire retirement. That's a lot to carry by yourself. I'm Laura Schultz, and at Preservation Retirement Services, we can help to take some of that off your shoulders. It's time to put yourself first for once. We look forward to seeing you soon.
It was kind of scary because you're like, I have this pool of money, I don't know you, and I'm trusting you with this pool of money. To be honest, Tim is how I retired. I call it my knight in shining armor. He planned for things, and about 2 years ago, he kind of told me, you can go whenever you want. But when it came to making that call to walk away from the 24-year career I had, I panicked. And I called him and I'm like, okay, I need you to talk me off this ledge. Ran through everything, was like, you're fine, you're okay? I'm like, yep. Gave my notice, I was ready. And I've been fine ever since. I called Tim my brother from another mother, yeah. We just clicked. We kind of bonded, and he explains everything. He's very matter of fact. He's very personable. I was totally okay with whatever he was doing, and best decision I made, 100% hands down.
Preservation Retirement Services. Get retirement ready. Call today.
And we're back with Tim and Laura Schultz of Retirement Ready TV. We just spent time outlining the Retirement Ready roadmap. Now, a big part of the process is identifying and managing risk to your clients' retirements. Let's talk about a big one, something that worries a lot of people, and that's market downturns. What are your thoughts about that?
I think worries almost everybody, right?
It does, yeah, regardless of your age, right? Whether you're, young in your career in retirement, it just hurts a lot more when you're in retirement, right? To see your accounts go down 20, 30% can feel devastating in retirement. And that's really because you've stopped contributing to your retirement accounts most of the time. You've reached that peak of the mountain. You've been contributing all of these years while you've been working for decades. You've kind of reached the height of your accounts, and you need to start spending them down. And when you're taking out income and then the market also goes down 20%, taking money out, it's really hard to get that back. So that's a huge concern for a lot of folks that are in retirement. Yeah. Tim, you've had a personal experience with that.
Yeah, I have. Personally for me, I lived through this. My mother passed away 14 years ago. She was a nurse. she left me $200,000 of life insurance. I had no idea she was going to do this. And I put it all in the market. My advisor didn't talk to me about risk, didn't talk to me about diversification, didn't talk to me about how comfortable I was on where the money should go. And when they put it in, we had that downturn right afterwards, and that $200,000, it went to 180, 160, 140, 120.
How did that make you feel?
It was horrible. Yeah. The helplessness feeling of watching these accounts go down, I couldn't stop it. It was horrible.
And that's why we want to create that diversified portfolio for our clients so they don't have that hopeless feeling in retirement.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to come back from market downturns.
Yeah, that is probably a good segue. I'm going to go to the light board, and I'm going to talk about what happens when the market does go down, how hard it is, what kind of returns you need to get those accounts to go back up. I'm going to do that. You two ladies, stay out of trouble. I'll be right back.
Looking forward to it. Thanks so much. So, Laura, it's just us ladies here, which means it's time for the Women Get Retirement Ready segment, where you answer retirement questions on the minds of ladies across the CLE. And while Tim is making his way over to the Retirement Ready light board, we have another question that's coming to you from one of your favorite clients,
Andrea.
We
love her.
We love her. Okay,
yes.
So she has agreed to let us air this.
Yes.
Andrea, are you there?
What about healthcare and retirement?
That's a great question. And it's important for ladies, particularly given that women, statistically speaking, live longer than men. So healthcare can be a concern. My grandmother lived to 101 years old. So healthcare, long-term care, these are all important issues for ladies in retirement. How healthcare looks in retirement really depends on when a lady decides to retire. So if you're working up to 65 or later, you can very easily transition from your employer-sponsored healthcare plan that you're on while you're working, or your spouse's, if you're on your spouse's, to Medicare. Now, Medicare is a whole nother animal. It comes with its own set of decisions that you have to make, right? And it's important to seek some guidance on which Medicare plan is right for you. Are you going to have a Med Sup, A, B, C, D? There's all these
It's
letters.
Like lots of alphabets.
It's a lot of alphabets. It's confusing, but at least there's an easy transition there from your job, healthcare, to Medicare. But if you retire early, the only downside to that, assuming you have the retirement funds to do so, is you have to figure out healthcare gap coverage. Let's say you decide to retire at 60 or 62. How are you going to go about getting health care until Medicare kicks in at 65? There's different ways to do that. Sometimes you're able to go on a spouse's plan. Sometimes you have to go out and get health care coverage on your own in the marketplace. But it's important to figure out the right plan for you. But on top of it, it's important to budget for that in retirement, because that can be very expensive if you're going out and getting independent coverage. So it's something to make sure you talk to an insurance professional about that can help you find that coverage, but also build it into your retirement budget, so we make sure that that's part of what we've budgeted for if you do retire early.
And everyone's personalized when it comes to healthcare and retirement.
It is. And it depends also on your personal health, right? How much do you think you're going to have to spend? Are you somebody that's relatively healthy? Of course, we don't know the future, or are you somebody that you know you will have a lot of healthcare expenses, both insurance coverage and just general healthcare expenses, prescription medication expenses? It's all an important part of your retirement budget. One of the many things us ladies have to think about in retirement, particularly given longevity.
It's interesting because I don't always think about healthcare and retirement going hand in hand, but like you said, it's important.
It's one piece of the pie, and it's one of the questions, that's why we love doing these Women Get Retirement Ready sections, and why, we've devoted a part of our practice to Women Get Retirement Ready. You see this wonderful logo. We have events, especially for women. It's what I love to do, is help women feel financially confident, because, if I look back decades in my life, I wasn't financially confident. I've gotten there over time. A lot of women have shame about not knowing things about their portfolio, about money. They've let a spouse handle it. They've let a partner. Now they're divorced. Now they're widowed. We offer these services. We do the segment every week because we want women to feel financially empowered and know that they have a listening ear that they can come to, where we'll hear their concerns, hear their questions without judgment, and they don't have to feel shame. And whether they want to sit down, a lot of lady clients like to sit down just with me. They want to have a one-on-one conversation with me, female to female. That's great. A lot of our female clients love to work with Tim. Tim and I work great as a team, as we all see on the show. That's a totally personal decision on their part, but it is that, that women focus is something that we're really passionate about at Preservation Retirement Services.
And if ladies out there want to ask a question of you?
Oh, yes, we'd love to have you on the show. If you would like to ask your very own question and be on this wonderful screen behind find us. It's that same phone number that we're always saying, Michelle, 440-345-6900. You can call or you can text the word question, and we'll text you instructions back on how you can record your very own question that I'd love to answer on the show.
Okay, you have an important partner in life and in business.
I do.
Who's over at the light board.
I do.
Tossed over to him.
Yeah.
Right? Are you ready for us?
I can't wait to see what he's going to show us.
Okay, Michelle, I hear you. So let's talk about what you just said. Weathering market downturns. Now, that is a lot of words, and sometimes that really confuses people. So let's break it down. What does weathering market downturns mean? And it really means risk, right? Risk, and that's what everybody is worried about. Now, remember, when retirement is 10, 15 years down the road, risk isn't as important because we know that the market always comes back, right? The market always goes up. It does, but the thing is, it doesn't go like this. It kind of does one of these, right? Kind of up and down. So when retirement is far out in the future, risk isn't as important. But when you retire, or as we say at Preservation Retirement Services, voluntarily unemployed, when that happens and you're not bringing in money, that paycheck has stopped, risk is super important. And you need to understand it, and you need to understand the math behind it. So let's kind of dive into the math a little bit here. I'm going to explain on our light board here how this works. I'm going to write on your TV. I hope you don't mind. So let's figure this out, okay? So here is the math behind risk. So let's start. Let's just say that you have $1 million in your portfolio, okay? Nice, easy number. Now let's say that the market goes the wrong way and we lose 30%. Ouch, right? You lose 30%, what are you at? That's an easy one, right? $700,000. That's a 30% downtick. Okay. Now, a lot of retirement planners will say, don't worry about it. The market always comes back. It's going to be okay. You know, are you going to be okay if you make that 30% back? Well, let's do the math. So we're at 700,000 now, okay? 700,000. And we get that 30% return. What does that get you? The numbers are 910,000 only. A 30% return on 700,000 does not get you back to that million. It only gets you back to 910,000. In fact, if you lose 30%, you need to get a 43% return just to break even. And that's not even the scary part. The scary part is the time that it takes to get back to even. Now remember, a recession could take 2, 3, 4 years to get back to where you started. Losses hurt more than gains help. When you're coming into that retirement time of your life, right before in retirement, let me say that again. Losses will hurt more than gains help. Let me tell you some other numbers here. If you lose 10%, you need a 12% return just to get back to even. If we lose 15%, it is 18% return just to get back to even. You see the theme here, right? If you lose 20%, ouch, in your portfolio, you need, in fact, a 25% return to get back to even. And like we just spoke about earlier, if the market goes the wrong way and doesn't cooperate like it has, and it will, a 30% return, you need 43% return just to get back to that $1 million when you started with. That's the math behind risk. That is what gets it scary when there's a downturn, how much you need to get back to where you started. I hope that makes sense. Weathering market downturns, risk goes up, it goes down. I hope that made things a little bit more clear. I got to get back to the set and talk to Michelle and Laura. I'll see you next week.
Come on back in, Tim. That was fantastic, but some really scary math.
The math is scary. Really what it comes down to is losses hurt more than gains help when you're approaching retirement or in retirement. I hope that made some sense.
It made a lot of sense.
And it's why it's so important to have a diversified portfolio, right? You don't want those losses to go off all of your money, right?
All right, if folks at home want to get some more information and avoid that scary math, what do they do?
Really easy. It's that same phone number we always talk about, 440-345-6900.
You can call, leave us a voicemail. You can text that number, text READY to 440-345-6900. We'll send you your own Retirement Ready toolkit. Or you can set up that initial Retirement Ready review we were talking about, where you can share with Tim and I your dreams for retirement, and we can build your Retirement Ready roadmap. We'd love to do that. Just call or text.
All today.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Women have a lot to be proud of. We get a lot done, but too many times we take care of ourselves last. If you're married, there's a good chance you'll outlive your spouse and all the financial decisions will fall to you. If you're single, it will be up to you to fund your entire retirement. That's a lot to carry by yourself. I'm Laura Schultz, and at Preservation Retirement Services, we can help to take some of that off your shoulders. It's time to put yourself first for once. We look forward to seeing you soon.
We went to Maine this summer. We go to Florida a couple times a year. We took the grandkids up to Michigan fishing. Just living the dream right now.
Yeah, that's the one thing we really want to do is travel and adventure in our retirement. And we weren't even sure before, what we'd be able to do. But after partnering with Tim and Laura, it's like, okay, we're good. Tim and Laura were able to show it to us, visually show us, where it would go and how it would grow and how to diversify. And that, we'd be able to actually have fun and leave a legacy for the kids. When we come in, it's like visiting friends, and it's a partnership. They educated us so much. I thought we were fairly, knowledgeable about it, but when it comes down to it, there was a lot of missing pieces that were more about preserving what we have. Everything that they do is, pinpointed to us. This is our family.
Take control of your future. Preservation Retirement Services. Get retirement ready. Call today.
And we're back with Tim and Laura Schultz of Preservation Retirement Services. And in this next segment, we're going to talk about good communication, more specifically, communicating with your financial advisor. So would you just share some secrets on how to have a good relationship and communicate in a great way?
I think like any relationship, marriage, friendship, ours,
I'm always listening to you.
it takes work, and you have to talk about it and set expectations, right? You both have to kind of say, this is how I would like to communicate with you, and make sure that it works for both of you.
Yeah.
Right?
It all starts in that first meeting when we get together for that retirement ready review, just to sit down and we listen, because everybody's version of their dream retirement is always different. We keep talking about this. So we first need to figure out what is on their mind. What are their true fears? And we can find that out through communication.
Yeah, so your advisor should be asking those questions. What are you concerned about? What's important to you? But if they're not, you might want to wonder about that a little bit, but
Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag.
That's right.
But you should be telling them, what's important to you in retirement, because retirement plans, portfolios look very, very different depending on what your goals and needs are. And particularly for ladies out there, you know how important this is to me. I hear all the time, I go to my financial advisor with my husband and he never looks me in the eye. He never asks
that.
I know. He never asks me what's important to me or what I'm thinking. He just talks to my husband and says, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Your voice needs to be heard too. It doesn't matter if you were a stay-at-home mom, if you worked in your home. It doesn't matter if you were the high income earner in the household, both husband and wife, if you're married, wife and wife, husband and husband, whatever you are, if you're in a relationship, your voice needs to be heard. Your goals need to be discussed, your concerns, because a lot of times what we see, and I hate to say, gender specific things, but what we see a lot is the husband comes in, he's been handling the finances, he's very aggressive. And the wife is very conservative, and that's terrifying her. And nobody's ever listened to her and say, how are we going to make sure she feels comfortable too? Because we want both people to feel comfortable in their retirement plan.
The other thing that we hear a lot about is with individuals that are meeting with retirement planners, the first thing they talk about is products. Right off the bat, products. They're trying to push products. We take the opposite approach, because how can you recommend a product without even knowing what is the need of the retirement plan? Is there an income gap? Is it legacy? Is it taxes? You can't start with products. Products eventually will be part of the plan, but you get there from listening, and then they come in at the end.
Right. And it's ongoing communication as well. Unfortunately, we hear from folks sitting across the table from us all the time, well, I met with this financial advisor. They were really great in that first meeting. And then I kind of never heard again. And so, your advisor should be reaching out to you as much as you want them to, right? That's part of the communication you should be having up front. We talk to our clients, how often would you like to have a progress review? Some clients are like, you know what, like once a year is great. Some clients want to meet with us every quarter.
It just depends.
It really depends. But especially if something's going on in the stock market or if there's been some change in your retirement life that your advisor knows about, or your personal
And that's the whole point. Life throws you curveballs. So you need to be able to have that communication with your advisor and know if there's something going on in your life that you know that your advisor is there to talk to you.
Yeah, but it's just, keeping that communication open, and you should just be upfront with your advisor about what's important to you. Don't ever feel like you're being told what to do. You should be having those conversations. Tell them what you're worried about. You should not, if you have a financial advisor, the whole point is for them to help you, to alleviate your fears. If you go home from your meetings and you're like, oh, geez, I'm still worried about my portfolio, or I still don't understand my portfolio, right? Ask questions. Don't feel any concern or that you're going to be, at least if you come into our office, we are never going to look down on you for asking a question if you have one. You should be able to walk out the door if you've had effective communication with your advisor and at least at a high level say, these are the types of accounts I have. This is what their tax status is. This is where they are. And this is at a high level, what's their purpose and what's in them. And you should be comfortable talking about that. And that's really one of the things we strive for at Preservation Retirement Services is to have that communication so that, some folks are more in the weeds than others. We have clients that look at each of their investments every single day. Some want more of that big picture. But I feel very confident that our clients at a high level understand what's in their portfolio and why.
Everything she said.
And what's music to my ears? That you listen. I love hearing that. And so if folks out there want you to listen to them, how can they reach out to you?
Well, like we talk about every single week on this show, it's one simple phone number, 440-345-6900.
You can call us, you can text us, text ready, if you would like to receive the form to fill out to receive your very own retirement ready toolkit, or we'd love to start that conversation where we will listen to you with your own retirement ready review. You can text ready. We would love to set up that initial introductory retirement ready review phone call with you. Again, that number is 440-345-6900. We'd love to help you get more retirement ready.
And where can folks find you online?
Retirewithprs.com. Retirewithprs.com.
Lots of ways to connect with you. Thank
All the
you
ways.
so much. All the ways. And we will see you next time.